Hey everyone, this is Jason Rodriguez with Z Prime. Thanks again for joining us for WE3Live. We're very excited to kick off this conversation to give us some context of what we're going to be hearing at the WE3 Summit taking place November 9th and 10th in Los Angeles. Please check out the site for more information. And we're very thrilled to have a special guest to take us home for the rest of this conversation, really focus on what's next for e-mobility and smart homes. We have the one and only Les Smoot, good friend. Good to see you again. Les, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Yeah, Jason, thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be a part of this and looking forward to events to come as well.
Yeah, Les, so you're the Public Affairs Officer at SignWatts. You want to tell us a little bit more about your role there and also tell us where you're joining us from today.
Yeah, so I'm in the energy capital of California, Bakersfield, and with SignWatts, we're actually working with Bakersfield here, and SignWatts is relocating here to work with the city. My job in public affairs is generally to work with all stakeholders from public to private and to kind of facilitate a community ecosystem around the SignWatts technology as we work to develop the next generation of power electronics.
Fantastic. And as most also know, is your other hat is also a media influencer, kind of a news editor as well, and covering all things clean tech. You're well known in the LinkedIn community. Can you talk a little bit more about how that came about as well?
Yeah, so it's really exciting. The LinkedIn platform is growing rapidly from being a professional platform to being one where people go for information and content. And so over the last few years, I've actually created content related to energy and mobility for the industry, and it's kind of facilitated a community environment. That's been my mission the whole time, is to facilitate community online. I found that creating content is the ultimate way to build community and to start conversations, and that ultimately LinkedIn is the best platform for professionals, at least in my opinion, to do business to business, to grow your brand, and to make a difference as well. So I've just seen tremendous growth, excuse me, personally over the last few years creating content, and there's a huge void for it. So I'm excited about what Z Prime is doing, and I think we need more of it. And ultimately, if you can fill that void, then you're going to see a lot of growth. And I think LinkedIn is a place for it to happen.
Thank you, thank you. Well said. So before we get into that, yeah, you kind of set the stage there a little bit, but also just tell us a quick about yourself. Like, how did you get into working in this clean tech space before some of the things you're doing now?
Yeah, my background is in energy system development, construction, project development, design, and consulting. So for the last 15 years, I've been involved in the early development of the solar industry in California. I'm fortunate to be in Bakersfield, which again is the energy capital of California, where not only do we produce, 60, 70% of the oil, we also produce about 60, 70% of the renewable energy. So I got my teeth cut early in the industry as a college student, as an intern at the first publicly traded solar company. From there, I worked on a local basis, on a construction basis, and an advisory basis in the development of about 1,000 energy projects. So I have a lot of experience developing the projects and finding the right business models and technology to work for homeowners and businesses. And along the way, I've learned a lot about what works and what also where there needs to be some innovation. And so lately, the last few years, I've worked on technology and business models that I think will help enhance the industry overall.
Thanks, Les. Thanks. Great stuff. And to all of you joining us on LinkedIn Live, we would welcome your questions. I think we'll have plenty of time for that. Please chime in. We'd love to get some questions out to Les, or if you have any questions for any of us here at Z Prime, please pop them in the chat. And before that, yeah, just give a quick shout out. As you can probably see, our good friends at Austin Energy with their electric greater than gas hat. They've been key partners with Z Prime since the start. And obviously, Baby Yoda is always looking for tips there. And then other good partners through this journey of energy transformation and storytelling. I have to give this shout out here to our partners, Bijly, Get Shift Done, also in partnership with Salesforce. They're Sharon Talbot they collaborate on this shirt. So and it aligns perfectly both Lost Energy and this shirt with our topic today on e-mobility here. So Celeste, let's just jump right in. You've seen a lot of clean energy trends over the last 2 years. We see the work you do and the projects you cover, but which one or two do you really see have taken off the most in the past 2 years?
Yeah, I'd say in general, energy storage or solar plus storage has really boomed. It went from a few or handful of technology manufacturers to a lot more battery manufacturers. As well, we're seeing the integration of electric vehicle charging into the home energy system. And I think in general, we're seeing vehicle to grid take off. I think that's the biggest takeaway is that vehicle to grid or vehicle to grid integration, vehicle to home, vehicle to X in general is really taking off on a policy in a policy side in California. And then we're also seeing technology come out and a lot more new players. So I think in general, we're seeing the smart home ecosystem expand and a lot of consolidation in general between technology firms and industries as well.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, 12 years ago, I think that smart home concept what seemed to be around for a little bit and it never really took footing. But here it's taken, at least from a clean energy standpoint, seems like all the foundation is there to, with this technologies behind that, really take that next step. Is that something you see as one of those key trends of like what's happening with the home and tied to consumer choice?
Yeah, absolutely. So you have early entrance into what was referred to as the all-in-one system by Enphase, for example. You're seeing a lot more companies, instead of just providing the inverter or the solar panel or the battery, are trying to provide a whole home system, one that's interoperable and easy for the consumer to use. This is also involving the integration of new devices such as EV chargers, thermostats. And so the home energy ecosystem is really coming together on a company to company basis. And then we're also seeing, for example, the consolidation of companies with an alarm company became a solar company, and then they got bought out by Sunrun. And you're seeing a lot of consolidation or integration on a system level, and then you're seeing consolidation and integration on a corporate level. And I think that's to the benefit of the consumer and allowing companies to upsell existing technology and to make their own products easier to enter into the market. So I think this is a good trend and necessary actually in order for a smart home to be smart is integration.
So good points there. So GM yesterday, big announcement coming out of GM and really we're trying to transform into an energy company and launching that there in California. How significant is this announcement in your opinion?
I think it's huge. I think the main point is that this is not, and this is a quote, this is not a new division. This is our new business. And so in energy in general is a new opportunity for a lot of new company, or not new companies, but old companies, for example, the automotive industry. So the electrification of everything is a challenge and an opportunity. And so when you're a manufacturer like GM and you're putting fleets out there and you want people to drive electric trucks, you really have to have an energy division help with the charging infrastructure and the complexity there. In addition to that, the consumer adoption of an electric truck or an electric car or the adoption of solar, a lot of those things are complementary. So for example, in California, about 67% of people who drive electric cars go solar. So it's just a natural tendency or it's just an opportunity for salespeople to upsell and for organizations to make the transition to electrify everything easier, as well as create new opportunity. And then I think also something to consider is that with vehicle to grid, with Ford and GM and others, it's going to be easier for them to work with utilities and to facilitate what are called virtual power plants and to tap into the battery for grid purposes than it is for the consumer. So these things need to be plug and play and they need to be automatic. And I think that consolidation and that approach and the strategy by GM is very smart.
Very good. And we see that sort of at the federal level as the Department of Transportation and Department of Energy recently announced a joint department to merge these two critical infrastructure industries, one that together combined have a significant impact in terms of emissions, but also I think it kind of aligns with this new world or GM's framing as a new business. I think it also requires new structures, and that's the heart, going back to the WE3 story and the convergence that both SCW and Z Prime saw, is that just water systems, electric systems, and energy systems needed to have a much stronger alignment, regardless of the business they're working in, because the challenges are so big that if you're not collaborating, whether it's at the manager level, the policy level, or state or federal government level across these industries, then we're going to lose opportunities here. And so it's great to see that playing out with GM. But I want to come back to V2G because I think there's a lot of information out there, especially with social media being what it is in terms of electrification, and there's this fear that, and I think a real engineering challenge is if we ramp up too fast and infrastructure is not there, that it could cause significant grid issues and possibly lead to increases in energy prices. So I wanted to just get your perspective on how V2G can possibly help solve some of these resilience challenges that we're seeing play out.
I think we're seeing on a policy level a very clear support or excitement for V2G, and for good reason. Recently, the governor announced in signing 40 pieces of legislation on September 16th, with a Ford Lightning behind him, that vehicle-to-grid technology is a game changer. And I agree. And then Patty Pope, the new or relatively new CEO of PG&E, has said the same thing and referenced, the potential for, comparable nuclear power stations to be deployed as virtual power plants utilizing electric vehicles. But for some perspective, using SIMOTS technology, which will have a much higher capacity than today's V2G, if 30% of electric vehicles are capable of vehicle-to-grid integration by 2035, we can meet 100 times the amount of demand response needed in order to run the grid. So what that means is that we can not only meet the demands of the grid and on an intermittent basis, we can also store a tremendous amount of energy inside of the electric vehicles, rather than having stationary storage, or even on a grid scale, or on a home or business scale. So we're going to see the capability for the electric vehicle to be the grid battery and as a whole, or at least a big part of it. So that's going to save a lot of money. It's also going to create a lot more resiliency on a local basis by distributing these resources in homes and on businesses. And so ultimately, I think we're getting really close to a 100% renewable and enabled grid. The key is going to be energy storage. And I believe electric vehicles are the key. And in many ways, I'm not the only one saying that it's a game changer. And we're seeing on a policy level the support necessary in order to make this new market happen.
Thank you. Yeah, that's some pretty ambitious goals there, and it sounds like there are some solutions that can be worked through some of the new technologies and to help meet some of these critical resilience issues, especially. It's not just these used to be industry conversations. Now these conversations are moving to the home, right? And you're seeing this rise. Even in Texas, we've seen significant rise in both home energy storage systems, whether it was a Powerwall or some of the other systems out there. And a lot was caused just by grid ISO issues, whether it was ERCOT, and then I think the situation there this summer with the heat wave that you guys had as well.
Mm.
So lots to look forward to. So we're about to end, but I wanted to see if there was any questions. Please feel free to reach out, send them to Les and myself, and we'll try to get them in. But I wanted to conclude in that we have a lot going on over the next month. You'll see a lot of activity coming from the Z Prime team, the partners and sponsors, Smart Energy Water, our host sponsor as well. We have also a really unique, speaking of mobility, we have EV road trip coming out next week. We will be in California. This will be Aaron Otan and our team, and Laurel Morris will take a trip from Sacramento all the way down to San Diego, talking with utilities and leaders about electrification and some of the challenges, both with from infrastructure side and then also just from a consumer's perspective of what they're seeing there. And Les, I think you're going to get to be a part of that. So we're really looking to kind of meet up with you there in about a week and just hear on the ground of what's going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to share some, real life examples and personal examples of combinations of solar and electric vehicles and ways to, save money using both and how complementary they are. So some fun stories and some lessons, hopefully. And excited as well to see Aaron and Laurel come through Bakersfield.
Yep, and then we'll also be seeing you in Los Angeles as well. Is that correct? We have some more stuff coming up to announce.
Absolutely excited to be in LA with you and the others, and it's going to be, it's a short drive for me, so I'm excited to drive over the hill, over the Grapevine, and see you.
All right. Well, Les, that about wraps us up here. Let's see. We might have had a question come here. Oh yeah, we have a question come here. What are some of the biggest roadblocks in the EV ecosystem adoption? Les, I'll let you take that one.
I think the most critical component is going to be charging infrastructure, and I'm excited about some of the solutions that are on the way. It's going to take a lot of deployment and infrastructure to facilitate the further scaling of the electric vehicle industry. But in my opinion, onboarding, at least from a SIMOTS perspective, onboarding the charging infrastructure into the electric vehicle is going to be one of the solutions. But we're seeing a lot of creative approaches, and some tried and tested ways are being retried, battery swapping, for example. But I think we need to keep trying new technology and keep innovating. And I think the charging infrastructure will work itself out.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for that question. It looks like we're about wrapped up. We're wrapping up a little early, but I think that's great. Everyone's busy. And just to our partners at Smart Energy Water, everyone involved with WE3 Summit, getting ready for that. We just want to express our extreme thanks. Thank you for all of you out there for joining us today for this kickoff. We had some amazing sessions. Les, thank you so much for your time. Linda Mattis, Sanjay Bonga out there, George Hunt, Laurel Morris, thank you so much for all the great work in the Z Prime and SCW teams. We'll continue to work hard. And we're very much looking forward to seeing all of you in Los Angeles in a month. We appreciate all of you joining us, and we will see you soon. Les, thank you for being here, and we'll see you in about a month.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it.